Welcome to Focus Garage. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that I'm very interested and looking forward to doing, which is 24 hours of lemon racing. So, this is nothing that I have ever done before this scale. I have done autocrossing and I have done a couple of track events, but they were always like an hour or so, nothing that it's like this big. And I'm very interested to see how it will end up being. So before I continue my video, I want to talk about, if you don't know what 24-hour lemon racing is, it's basically you show up with a $500 car and you race for 24 hours in some cases. In some cases it's splits into 2 days, 16 to 14 hours. So it depends on where your racetrack is, and trust me, that's a lot of racing, even though if it's not 24-hour racing. So let's start with what I said earlier. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Hours of racing is true, but the car portion is not. The car is actually $500, but it has a lot of safety equipment that goes into that car that makes it a lot more valuable than just $500. That's the catch of this racing. And also the weekends are kind of expensive as well, but you pay what you get for. Before I go into this pricing in depth, let's move on to the safety, which I mentioned. There are two safety, one that you wear, one that it's in the car and around the car. So number one, let's talk about what you wear. You have to have a racing suit, which is flame retardant, so you have enough time to get out of the car. And you have to have gloves that are fire retardant. You have to have socks, and you have to have shoes that are fire retardant, and you have to have head sock that is fire retardant. Along with the head sock, you need a helmet, of course, that it's automotive racing Snell approved. Whatever the latest Snell approved helmet, because it changes all the time. I think it was 2010, next year might be 2015, and so on. So you want to always check the 24-hour LeMons forum before you buy your stuff. And they also have a kit, which I don't recommend getting it because it's not that nice. You have that, and then you have your Hans device, and then you have your Hans device attachment to your helmet. Let's go into it a little bit more. For your suit, you want to make sure your suit is comfy, because you're going to be in that suit for hours and hours and hours. You want to make sure that it's not itchy, it's not like tough that you can't move your arms or something like that, and it fits good on you as well. So you have a couple of options. You could get two-piece suit, which is bottom and top, or you can get one piece, which I have one piece, and I thought it was really comfortable. I didn't have any problem with it. There are a couple of places, I mean, you can buy it from Amazon, eBay to racing stores, and you'll spend between probably $100 to thousands of dollars. So that really depends on the brand and the quality and all that stuff. You can also buy used ones. They're usually pretty good too. So pick what's comfortable for you, and don't go overboard with it, because this is not a professional racing, it's just for fun. So just keep that in mind. The same goes for the socks, shoes, and gloves. You want to find something that's comfortable, because you're going to be in these probably for a really long time. And the helmet, make sure it fits really good. So these are what are required. Additionally, think about getting radios, which that's your communication between you and your pit, so you know that when to pit and when there's something wrong with the car. Once you come out of the they know before you come out of the racetrack, so they can be prepared to do whatever needs to be done, because time is really valuable when you're racing. So radios are important. I think you should get those. And also cool shirt, cool shirt. It's called cool shirt, which is like basically a t-shirt that has water running through it, cold water. You have a bucket that pumps cold water in. This is really nice during hot racing, high temperatures, so it keeps your body cool and you can focus on racing instead of being uncomfortable in the car and maybe passing out because you get a heat stroke. You want to make sure you're hydrated and all that stuff. So you can also have this thing called Camelback to get some water during racing. That way you don't have to stop for water and you're hydrated as well. So those are the things that will keep you focusing on the racing and keep you safe what you're wearing. So let's go to the car and talk about the car. Number one rule, check the LeMons forum before you build your cage, because they have specifications for the cage depending on the car. If it's a convertible or whatnot, they have rules for like how much headroom you need. All that stuff is in there. Number one rule I think they have is you cannot have a bolt-in cage. It has to be welded in. Anyway, going back to that, you want to make sure that it's welded all together, and they have like posts instead of welding into the body. They like you weld it into, like, everything is in there. So you want to make sure you got to take a look at it. And the cages are not cheap. You're looking at, depending on where you are, probably minimum of $1,000 and upwards. So make sure whoever's doing your cage does not cut corners, and make sure they do it right. So move on to the, since we're talking about the cage, let's talk about the crash, like the bumpers and stuff. It has to have, you cannot cut those bumpers off. You have to have the crash, like the bumpers, the front and the rear. Those are your crash structure. So you want to have those. Anything around the car, you need to keep those crash structures. You don't cut stuff off to lose some weight. That's not, it's not safe. Fuel. You can either run fuel cell, they have specs for that, or you can run the car's OEM, whatever they came from the factory. You can run those, and that's also fine. And you have to have a firewall. I mean, if your car is stuck, you didn't modify the front end of it to swap another engine in, then your firewall should be intact, and that's fine. If not, then you got to build your own firewall. And a fire system in the car. I forget what it's called, but you pull the pin, fire extinguisher comes on in the car, in the cabin, and on the engine bay as well. And all your electrical wire needs to be routed safely and bundled up instead of being like a rat mess. So you want to make sure that that's clean. And also you have to have a windshield, like no cracked windshield. Electrical, you need to have a kill switch in the car. So in case of any emergency, you kill the car and you pull the, if there's fire, you pull the thing and get out. Racing seat and the harness. Those are, I don't think racing seat has a date, but the harness have a date, just like your helmet. So you want to make sure your harness is up to date and all that stuff. So all those information I'm babbling about, you can find those on the forum, but those are the things that gets involved. So it's not just $500 car, show up and race. It's not like that. Just wanted to give you guys just wanted to paint a little bit of a picture here of how it is racing LeMons. So come with me to take a look at the car and go racing. And this is the car. The name of the team is Scheissmeister. It's a 944 4-cylinder naturally aspirated car that dominates 24 hours of racing. Not the LeMons, but the LeMons. If you guys take a look at it. And this is the beast of an engine. So we have John and Dave. Hi John, hi Dave. They're gonna work on the car. They are the owner of the team and the car, and they've been doing
So what
great
we're doing is we're
race.
actually going
Everybody
over
loves
the
them.
car, making sure there's nothing wrong with it.
Everybody
First of
loves
all,
them.
checking the brakes,
But,
checking
yeah,
the
we're gonna get
bushings,
going
checking
and show
any
you
ball
guys,
joints or any
what we're doing.
steering components, tires and wheels or anything like that. There's no bent or any old tires, bolt tires. And then we're actually going to change the oil and do some spark plugs as well, and check some blow-by that the car was having problems with, and look at the coolant level and see if there's any, and wash the car and get it ready for the weekend. This was the most fun I ever had in a car, doing any car related thing. I mean, it's incredible and I want to do it more. I can't believe I'm here just talking about it instead of out there racing. It's an amazing feeling. It's like we have this thing when you're driving a you know, winter beater, that the car that you don't care about on the street, you're less stressful in traffic because you don't care if someone hits you. You know, you're already in traffic doing going probably like 30-40 miles an hour, and someone hits you, you're okay because that car was like worth like $2,000, $1,000, or sometimes $500, and you don't really care. And that's how it is driving a LeMons car on the racetrack. You don't care if someone hits you. You don't. I mean, you do if you spin out, but like it doesn't really worry. Like it's not in your back of your head trying to be like, be careful, don't wipe out, don't hit that car. I didn't have that feeling. I was just in traffic, battling to turn as much as lap as possible, and also trying to keep the car alive as well. That means no redlining, you know, shifting at like 5,000 RPM, I believe that's what the tape was, and you know, taking care of the car so it will last you I think total of 16 or 18 hours of racing. So it was really fun. The car, the 944, handles amazingly. It's a 50-50 weight distribution, and that thing handles. It's just, I could go in a corner, not even thinking about it. You know, when you set it up in the beginning, hit the apex, accelerate, get out of there. And everybody's still trying to either, they're lifting off so they're not, you know, the car is not upset or anything like that, or like not understeering or oversteering. With this car, I didn't have that problem. It just took, it was like, it was on rails, you know. But one negative thing was that the power. So like the video you guys seen earlier, there was a I think it was a 500 SEL. It was definitely a V8 Mercedes that I passed him on a corner, and then we were battling. I didn't put it there because no one really cares about how you drive. I thought it was a really cool event. Like we were battling, I passed him, and then we did like, I can't remember, maybe like half an hour of racing, and then he finally passed me on a straightaway because this car does not have any power. And then the next corner, you guys see that he lost it, and then coming out of the corner, he lost it again. He almost wiped out. He was on the dirt, and then he waved me to go around him. And that's what's about this. That's what amazing about this car is, like there's no competition on a corner. On a straightaway, everyone beats you. So a little bit more power, this car would be a perfect track car. And it was an amazing weekend. There were a couple of accidents on the racetrack, like always. People wiped out, and we had two major setbacks. Well, we fixed it, so I don't know if you call it a major. But first one was we lost. We didn't lose it, but we destroyed the wheel bearings. Driver's side was completely gone, and passenger side was getting there. So Saturday we end the race 2 hours earlier, maybe an hour and a half earlier than rest of the people, and we start working on the car to get it ready for Sunday. And Sunday we broke a ball joint. That was scary because we thought we bent the lower control arm or something like that, but luckily it was just a ball joint. We fixed that and get back onto racing. To give you guys some idea, there were about 90 to 100 cars out there, and I can't remember what position we were, but we lost maybe 3 hours, 4 hours of racing. So we were in the mid-pack. I can't remember exactly what position it was. But the cool thing about this is not about what your position is, about finishing the race. Because the car was competing in B class, that means finishing the race is a win. So we completed the race, we took the checker flag, and we were happy. So what's next for this car is gonna get some upgrades to make more power on a straightaway, so we can
hold more positions. Traffic is the biggest issue. If you get passed by a lot of cars, I can late brake and turn much better than everybody else. But when there's a lot of car, all the lines are taking, you have to slow down. And once you slow down, you can't really keep your momentum, and this is a momentum car. So I want to continue doing this. I don't really care about any other type of racing because this is so much more fun. You spend an entire weekend with people like you party, and you get to know each other, and they're very helpful people. We needed tools, and we were able to go and get one borrowed from someone else, and they were very helpful. And besides that, someone helped another person weld their frame so they can continue racing. So that was amazing. I had never seen anything like this. And I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help you. And if you never had done 24 hours of lit racing and you're planning on doing it, I would suggest doing there's something called Arrive and Drive, where you go to the forum and find a team that it's looking for a fourth or third driver or whatever, and just message them, and you pay whatever they're asking. Not sure, depending on the team, how much it is, but that's the cheapest way of doing it, instead of, buying a car, getting it ready and all that stuff, finding other people to actually waste. This is an investment for your happiness. I don't get it. Money into this. So Arrive and Drive is the best way to get into it, and who knows, maybe you will, be friends with those people and start racing for them. So who knows. So thanks for watching. Kudos to all.